Today is the 22nd of January, and I will say Happy New Year to you because this is the first video I've done in the new year. Not only that, it is Chinese New Year today, so that is why I'm wishing you Happy New Year. It is still freezing cold. The last 7 or 8 days, the temperature at night has been -5, -6. The day temperature is like -3. Today is the first day when the temperature has gone slightly above freezing. All the frost is gone, but you can see everything is frozen solid, lumps of ice like that. So as you can imagine, it's ever so cold. So I thought I'd still wear my Hawaiian shirt. These are the oversized Hawaiian shirts that my friends sent to me, or YouTube fans sent to me, and I'm wearing it over my fleece, so I'm cheating a bit. So what do I have to do at this time of the year? It is now the third week in January, and this is when things start getting very exciting. This is the time we have to look for a repotting and do all sorts of things. So although it's the first day that things have started thawing, I'm already looking ahead to see what needs to be done. So I'm going to go through all these pots to see whether they need to be repotted or not. And I will take you through the entire process of assessing whether a tree needs repotting or whatever. In any case, there are lots of jobs to do, so I will take you into the back greenhouse and I will tell you that there are certain jobs that are waiting to be done. We will explain that to you, okay? So starting from this row of evergreens, these are our Chinese junipers. Mind you, they've been in the open all through the winter, and we've had temperatures, I told you, -7 for maybe 10 days non-stop and lots of rain. So these pines and junipers have stood in the open all the time when we've had freezing conditions. You notice that some of my staff have started fertilizing the trees. They put it down about a week ago. I wouldn't normally put it as early as this, but it's an experiment that we've been doing. So I know it's not the conventional thing to do, but we thought we would try to see if it makes any difference to the trees. In the UK, we have very mild winters, relatively mild compared to North America and Canada and parts of Central Europe. So putting it in mid-January, it's maybe a bit early, but I would normally put it around early March. So let's see what happens. It may produce new growth and may help to prolong the growing season. So many of these trees I will look at maybe in a couple of weeks' time, but I think they don't need to be repotted. As a rule, I've found that over the many years that I've been growing bonsai, I have come to the conclusion that trees like junipers and pines do not need to be repotted that often. I've had pines and junipers in pots for 5, 7, even 10 years, and they still look very healthy. So don't rush to repot your evergreens without checking. If it is really pot bound, we will probably consider repotting. We will check some of these in a couple of weeks' time because we've just had a very cold night, so all the soil is frozen solid, absolutely solid. So we can't do anything about it. So all these trees have been out in the open. And now I'm going to take you into our back greenhouse to see what the condition of the trees are like over there. So these are all in dormancy still, but hopefully they'll start springing up. And you can see that all our maples too have been left in the open, and I know that they are hardy. They won't come to any harm. Many people are always worried that, oh, if I keep them out in the open, will they die? But you've just got to believe in yourself and understand your species. See, this is frozen solid. This is a beech group. They are hardy. So most of the hardy trees should survive. So we will see. We will follow the progress. And these shade structures have been here, and they only provide overhead protection from the frost. They do freeze solid. The soil is absolutely rock hard. And these were trees that came from Japan last year, so they seem okay. More trees that we have made, or Padma Priya has made, so all these look good. So we will follow the progress in the spring. While we are passing, This is what we call the frost blush. In America, they call it the bronzing of the evergreens. Junipers and pines to a certain extent, but mainly junipers, cryptomerias, and also the yews, Japanese yew. I will take you to some Japanese yew, and you will see that they are bronzed as well. So this patch here, these Japanese yews have been bronzed because of the cold, but if you look inside, it's bright green. So where the frost doesn't touch it, it stays green, but where the frost gets it, it turns this bronzy color. Now I will now take you into the back greenhouse where the trees are slightly warmer, and I'm going to do some work there. So let me show you what I'm going to do. If we come into this house, first of all, let's show you these trees that Kevin Wilson worked on. These are the English yew. Now, I'm going to continue keeping them in these large containers or pots for another year, just to get it to grow strongly. If I were to tinker with the roots, it may set the tree back a little bit, so I'm not going to repot them. I know a lot of people are very eager to pot them up because they want to see the finished article. But this is where you've got to exercise some patience. So this is another one. So you recognize all the tree projects we did. They're going to remain in the pots and they're not going to be touched. And we will follow the progress to see how they have been growing during the coming year. I will also be taking you through some projects that I have done in the past because they are worth following up. At this time of the year, just before spring starts, this is when I start pruning the maples back. Look at this. This is a trident maple. And this long shoot, which is almost about 70 or 80 centimeter long, has grown in the last year. On a tree like this, I will just go through and cut these long shoots. You must be asking me why I didn't cut it during the summer. I don't always cut it in the summer because I like the trees to grow strong. It feeds the branches and the trunks, help to thicken the parts that need thickening. And then spring. This is the early part of spring, and not quite spring, but just before the sap starts rising, that's the time I like to cut. And I'm going to go through all the maples which are in this greenhouse. Remember, I always remind people that things which are growing in the greenhouse have a head start. They have like a month advance over the trees which are in the open. So if you look carefully at this hornbeam, this is a Japanese hornbeam, look at the flower buds on that. That's already starting to move. So this is very early. So you've got to really keep an eye on it. And once you come into the month of February and March, you have to really watch it because suddenly everything will start spurting. So these are long maple shoots. These are all growth that has happened in the last year. So it's just a question of going through it and cutting them back. Very simple job, but it has to be done at this time of the year. And the sap is starting to rise. So you can imagine all this has to be cut back like that. Lots of work to do. So it's just a question of going through methodically and cutting back. I won't do the entire tree because I want to show you some other trees that need this sort of work. This is another example. This is Celtis sinensis. And you see, again, 70, 80 centimeter long shoots. Cut it back to a triangular shape. Now this one I will probably keep because I want to train it as a branch like that. So not all the shoots are cut back. I know that some of these branches can be used for hardwood cuttings, but since I've got such a lot, I won't even bother. Anyone who comes to the nursery today can have these for free. So this is the process of making ramification. A lot of people talk a lot of complicated things about ramification, but to put it simply, it's just a question of pruning the long shoots and forcing side shoots to grow. No more than that. These are all maples, and I will probably prune that quite hard. It's the pomegranate. I've got to watch the species. Different species require different treatment.
That trident there, Peter.
Yeah, trident, yeah, that also needs it. It's long, I can't get in there. But I'll show you some other trees which I have here. This is really just a check over of how the trees are growing. Now this is a rough bark maple, Arakawa. You look at that lovely rough bark. And again, I'm trying to make this tree strong. So again, all these long shoots, I just go through with the Felcos. The more I look at the Felco, the more I'm intrigued with what it can do. Although we sell Japanese bonsai tools, I find that the Felco does much, much more than many of the bonsai tools can do. So again, this is the process of improving and increasing ramification. So just prune it into a conical shape. All the long shoots are pruned back into a conical shape, and that's it. If I were to leave this another 2 or 3 weeks, you will find that the maples bleed like anything. They will bleed a lot. So this is what I do to all the maples which are over here. See all these, look at this one. You see how long it is. So these have all got to be cut back. I don't want to devote a complete video just to show how to do this. That would be too boring for words. Some of these trees, if they get too tall, I will probably aerate and make it into a shorter tree. So there's that side as well. Now let me follow up on some of these air layerings that I did. Because during the year, we did quite a few air layerings. Now this is a Deishojo air layering that we did from the tree in the front of my house. And this was done in April, and we separated it in June or July and then potted it in sphagnum moss, and look at the roots on that. So that's doing quite well. Let me show you some other subjects which we air layered. While I'm here, let me show you these magnolias. I have a large magnolia tree, and I love magnolia flowers because the scent is absolutely out of this world. And look at that tree. This was air layered in March, separated, and I think there are lots of roots. Look at the roots on that. Beautiful roots. So this I'm going to transfer into a pot with soil, and that would be the next stage. So there are quite a few magnolias. This is another one. The beauty of air layerings is so exciting, you know. Getting trees for free, as it were. But in our case, of course, we sell them. Look at this. This was air layered again in March. Look at the roots on that. Air layering. Beautiful. So these will all be potted up. And I have another big one over there. Let's walk around this way. Show you some more air layerings that we did. This was a very big air layering. 12-foot high air layering. And this was put in a pot. I found this down. It's too big. This is another Deishojo branch. And again, you see all the roots have formed. It's potted up in soil. So all our air layerings have been successful. That's a Arakawa. And these are air layerings as well. All rooted well. That's also air layering, put in soil. That's a Deishojos. And this is another magnolia that we air layered. Look at the roots on that for an air layering. Beautiful, beautiful. So this will be potted up in soil. So this is the progress. Now we have quite a few jobs to do, so it's trimming that I'm going to do. While I'm passing, these are Itoigawas. Look at the beautiful Itoigawa here. And because the leader was deliberately left to grow long, the tree is only going to be like that. But what we're doing with this part is to make another tree, so you can see all these have been air layering. Look at it. The whole load, hundreds of them were air layering. And that's how we propagate them. And these were done as late as October, wasn't it? October, and look at it, already roots are coming. Throughout the winter, this has been producing roots. So if you do it correctly and you give it the protection of the greenhouse, they will root during winter. So that is another thing you can bear in mind. Not everyone has a greenhouse, but if you have protection that you can give to the plants, and these were air layerings that we did back in, I think, may have been like July. And we separated them after like 6 weeks. And I haven't looked at it, not cheating. Let's see what happens. Look at, the roots are coming through. The roots are coming through.
Yeah.
The roots are coming through. So we've got another new plant from that. We prize our Itoigawas. So although we bring small quantities from Japan, we also produce our own Itoigawas. And because I've just come back from India, let me show you some of the things I came across while I was in India. Now I always talk about gin pliers, and even people in India don't think of using it. This is a proper Japanese gin pliers, but a good substitute has always been these. We call it chimta. These are for holding the pans, hot pans like that. If you have a pan that you want to grip, so that's what you use it for. So lovely tool that substitutes for gin pliers. While I was there, this is a Bengali newspaper that I picked up, and these were tools from the campus market, my university campus market, and I couldn't resist buying these tools. And look at it. This is like a ginning tool for scraping. There's a sharp edge there. And this only cost me less than 10 pence. 10 pence. I mean 10 cents, 10 US cents. And this is another scraper. Again, you can use for scraping. These are all crude gardening tools. So again, another 10 pence. Look at it, lovely handle, all handmade by villagers. There you go. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. When I was out in India, I showed people how to use a potato peeler. Potato peeler is also very good for gin. Now, in case you don't know what this is, the Indian people use this for scraping the tongue. You know, when they brush their teeth and wash their mouth, they scrape the tongue with this stainless steel. But I found that this is very useful for scraping the bark of trees. You can use this for scraping the bark. So, as I say, you don't have to spend masses of money on expensive tools. You can use these simple, ordinary day appliances, gadgets, whatever you call it. They all have some use. You can see how these were made. These are, in fact, reinforcing bars, isn't it? Reinforcing iron bars, and the blacksmith have used it to forge a blade out of it. There you go.